Okay, now on to one of the most popular apps out there, Prezi. Prezi is a powerful application that you can use to give lectures, presentations, or any other visual sort of screenshots, snapshots, or anything that would help disseminate information. Now, when we're talking about Prezis, what is a Prezi? Well, you're looking right now at one that I'm making for this video tutorial. Now, if I were to span back from here and show you some of the other Prezis that we have, after I save that just to make sure, this is becoming quickly popular, and after using this for about a year and a half now, I absolutely love it. Let me show you what a typical Prezi will look like. In fact, why don't I go ahead and show you what it looks like on the iPad? Because this video is going to be about the iPad Prezi with a little bit about constructing Prezis on the website, because there are a few ways in which you would actually create a Prezi primarily through a website, although you can look at it, you can see it, you can visualize it on the iPad. If I go ahead and click here, you see that little blue icon that says Prezi Viewer? I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm going to log in, and you should only have to do this once in a great while. Oh, try that again. Maybe if I provide the correct password. And you can use Facebook too if you want. So here's a list of all the Prezis that I have, and I believe I have over 70 at this point. So why don't I show you at least, some of mine, and then I could definitely point you to seeing others, because one of the nice things about Prezi is after you create it, you can also get ideas by looking at others that have published theirs on the Prezi website. Now again, I'd like to briefly mention that this is sort of like a PowerPoint, only a little bit more interactive. So why don't I go ahead and click on my population environment slide. That loads up, and here you can see, right, and I have some recordings and whatnot, but using my iPad, I could zoom out, I could zoom in. And one of the nice things about this is more like a poster board. It does not follow a linear fashion in which a typical PowerPoint does, where we go from slide to slide. But as I go forward, and this is just me typically moving the mouse forward, all right, and you can start to see that I embed videos in here. And I can actually go ahead and play these videos if I want. All you have to do is hit in the middle, and they'll turn red and play. And then that'll start going right away. Sometimes, depending on your internet connection, it might take a minute or a few seconds, I should say. And then, of course, you can scrub through here if you want. So you can see a way in which videos are seamlessly integrated. So what does a Prezi sort of look like? Well, if I were to just zoom out, and the sky is the limit of how you actually create these. I went ahead and just created like a typical PowerPoint. But again, you can start to see how this is a poster board, and it's almost 3D background-like. And they're constantly coming up with updates in a good way all the time. One of the things you can do here, if you are using a laptop and you see a website right here, and I'm not sure if I can actually click on this and have it come up in Safari or any of my other browsers unless I'm on a laptop, because again, this is more of a viewer, although this is primarily what I use in class, although sometimes I'll keep my computer on just in case there was a website like that I wanted to show. And this looks absolutely gorgeous and stunning on an iPad, but again, this can also be used on a laptop or any computer for that matter. Now, one of the nice things about using Prezi is I could zoom in, I could zoom out. So if I really want to talk about something on an illustration, I could really zoom into that point. Okay, so you can see if you are heavily based with illustrations that you want to show, you could zoom that in and out. You could turn it in any direction you want. You could create all types of movement if you wish. Again, here's another illustration where I could zoom that out. And having gotten comments back on my teacher evaluations, I can tell you that the students really enjoy Prezi much more than PowerPoint. It's cutting edge, it's not hard to use, and you can access these from anywhere because they're cloud-based, which means you go to Prezi.com and you can access them. Here again, you can see a video, and you could zoom in and out if you wanted to, and I didn't in this particular presentation, you could zoom really far in and have a video right on, say, one of these circles. So you could really play with it and decide how you want to actually do it. But again, so here is one of my Prezis. Now I just want to show you maybe another one, just to give you some ideas of how you can use this. Here's another one. This is for my social problems class. This one also deals with the environment. And here you can see, if I zoom out, this is using a predetermined setting here. You can see how they sort of fanned it out for me. So if we go forward, you can start to see how it comes up. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons a little bit more about this. Again, this video is not necessarily constructing a Prezi. Perhaps in the future I could create a couple videos in which we actually construct a Prezi. Right now I just want to show you some of the capabilities of a Prezi, such as zooming in, zooming out, turning. Sometimes I have a question. I'll say, okay, maybe I'll put this right here and ask a question, you know, X, Y, and Z, what do you guys think? And then like, oh, you know, A, B, C, and then I could go ahead and show them, well, here are the results. So that's often fun to do that. Now, one of the nice things, if I were to zoom out, I use a couple settings on here, and why don't I actually go down here and show you what I'm talking about. In Prezi.com, when you sign up, and by the way, this is free. You can upgrade just like Dropbox, but the initial so many megabytes are free, and it typically doesn't take too much space up. One of the things you'll notice here is I've got my Prezis. I could learn about them here, and again, I could use a search function. I believe this is learning. This is your frequently asked questions, getting started. So I'm not going to necessarily post any videos right now because you can see a lot of these videos here. You know, one of the nice things is you could, if you are using PowerPoint, you could import your PowerPoint. And I could tell you from experience, it's extremely easy, only hitting a few buttons. By hitting import PowerPoint, it takes your PowerPoints and, like this one here, fan them out, or in other ways in which you could create a nice little theme if you want. So there's some help on how to actually use a Prezi. There's also what's called the Explorer. What's nice about the Explorer is you can take a subject. I'm just going to type in something that maybe I won't even think about. Why don't I type in criminal justice? Criminal justice. And you can see those that have opened it, that made it public. You can see all the different lectures that they've created throughout the country and practically throughout the world, actually. And you can see all the different ways in which they have used and utilized Prezi. So again, you know, I want to focus on the iPad a little bit, but I also want to show you from a broader perspective, you know, Prezi through the actual website. And again, one of the nice things about Prezi, like Dropbox, if you saw that video, is you can access this stuff from practically any computer with an internet. It works great. It's something new, innovative, and again, there's more capabilities. Now, what about the drawback? I've been using this for, I believe, 3 semesters actually now, and I can tell you there is one drawback, and that would be when you were to print out your PowerPoints. When you were to save them, print out, put them as PDFs, whatever you do with them, you can typically put 3, 6, 9 blocks on a page, or maybe 3 on a page with notation lines next to it. As of now, Prezi does not have a convenient way of printing them out. So let me go back to Prezi, and if I were to click on any one of mine, all right, I'm actually creating syllabus using Prezi. So, you know, one of the things you can do is you could have students, you give them a link, and you can make it public or you can private. You can share it. You could even have people, and you can see the viewing, editing, and embedding. You could even have people working on it together at the same time in live time, I believe, if you view together. Also download. You can actually download this or save a copy. But let's talk about that printing. When I go to, I'm going to go to course material where I keep all my Prezis. Let me show you how I've typically done it with my students. I've scrolled down here, and there's a Prezi link. And I have a video on how to use them. And if there's any problems, every great once in a while someone needs to update their Adobe Flash. But if I click on Prezi folder right here, I have a list of all my different slides using Prezi, or I should say my Prezi lectures and discussions. Now here's the link that will take me directly to the Prezi. Sometimes I have to click on that or it'll open right up for me if you're in Blackboard. Now this is pretty much what the students will see without the editing version. And if we were to expand right here, and depending on how heavy you use this, it might take a few seconds to load. You can see here some of the pictures are downloading or whatnot. So you can see here then the student pretty much gets to click forward, and they get to see the videos. And they get to see, that was a video right there. I have another video right here that I've created. So that is a typical way in which my students get into my Prezis. Now if I go back to Blackboard, you'll also notice one of the things I do to get around that printing issue is I do save them as PDFs, which you can do. Now again, that drawback is you can't have annotation lines on each of your slides. So what a typical Prezi might look like in PDF mode is it does have an overview, and it should load if we give it a second here. So this is what, oh, I'm sorry, let me go back. This is the one I want. Okay, so now it created, although you can't see it, it created, it's downloading a PDF file, and I'll open that up and you'll see that it gives an overview, and then each page is its own slide, so to speak. So as that finally loads any second here, I will go ahead, double click on that, and just show you what the PDF looks like so you get an idea. So again, and this is the greatest drawback I see using Prezi. You can see here. All right, so that is sort of the first, and it's a little cut off because of my screen capture, but each one of these, right, there's no annotation on the side, and the whole page is a slide. So if you were to have students that heavily annotate and write on there, that could be an issue. If it's not an issue, then great, then Prezi's even more for you. One other issue, not only using these, but teaching these to other faculty, one thing that I never anticipated was animations. I had one instructor who heavily used animations. Now, when you're transferring PowerPoint into Prezi, it captures pretty much everything, but it does not capture those animations. Certainly, if we go back to PowerPoint, and if I were to show you an editing mode, which we can find under Learning, you can animate. You can animate, but it will not copy those animations you have done in PowerPoint over into Prezi. So again, I want to leave this at no more than 13-14 minutes. This was more of exploring what Prezi is, how it works. And again, I would encourage you to go to Prezi.com, sign up, learn by checking out some of these videos, and also creating your own Prezis. And before you know it, you could have lots and lots, because it's pretty addictive. And I could tell you, using this for a few semesters, the students generally really like it. I've never had a complaint other than printing them out, where you can put some annotation slides on there. So other than that, I've heard of no other problems in which Prezis are a drawback. So if this is for you, great. I want to give this to you and have you explore your options. All right, and if you begin this, have fun, and be sure to let me know if you have any questions. I've used this quite often, so if you were to come up across something, I could help you out. It takes a little bit of a learning curve, but to be honest, it really doesn't take too much. So if I were to quickly go in here and edit now, after showing you the overview, there aren't too many buttons on here. You know, it'll ask you what kind of frame do you want. Do you want your text and pictures in a bracket? Do you want them in a circle? How do you want your background? Do you want to look 3D? But nothing that wouldn't take an hour learning curve. So here's your frames. You can have a theme of colors, add images, shapes. You could even load videos from YouTube, and of course, here's that PowerPoint. All right, I hope this video was useful. Thank you.